Guys, it's been a very frustrating 48 hours for me because I have been severely roasted by my friends who are Real Madrid fans just because of the victory that they secured over us on Sunday, 2-1. It's tough, it's hard to take, but at least we beat them 4 times last season. So losing once is not the worst thing that can happen in the world. I'm hoping that we'll pay them back because we have to pay them back because I cannot allow this slide. We have to pay them back before the end of the season. So my initial plan was to do a video immediately after the game, but for some reasons I wasn't able to do that. But that also gave me time to take a step back and review the game, which means that I'm not particularly doing a match review. I'm just looking at it from a more general point of view regarding how Barcelona approached, the match and pretty much the season so far and how we can fix things. So here we go. First, let me say Real Madrid deserves to win that game, nothing less than that. They were hungrier, they were faster, they were fitter, they were more aggressive, and most importantly, they were more prepared for that game from a tactical point of view. For us, Barcelona, we were just whatever, we're just there. So let's just lay it to rest. We did not lose because the referee was bad on the night, even though I think he could have done way better than he did. We lost simply because Real Madrid were better than us, period. So at the end of the day, I think it's more a case of us defeating ourselves than Real Madrid defeating us. And we did this to ourselves because of some wrong decisions that we took during the summer, early on in the season, and of course during the game. The first error we made was the decision to allow Inigo Martinez leave without getting an adequate replacement. That was a big blunder. I'd already mentioned in some of my videos how important Inigo Martinez is to this team and how much of a miss he would be this season. And surprise, surprise, it is already showing. One thing about Inigo Martinez wasn't just the fact that he was a good defender, he was a leader. If I look at the team that we have right now, we have fantastic defenders. We have Balde, Kubasi, Araujo, Christensen, Eric Garcia, and Jose Koundé. However, none of these guys I've mentioned is a leader. One of the things that we noticed last year was the fact that Pau Kubasi played good football and was able to form a very good partnership with Inigo Martinez because of many reasons, among which is the fact that Inigo was able to coordinate defenders and coordinate him as well, so they could play together. Inigo Martinez understood the highline very well and he was able to interpret that to the defenders, and it made life a bit easier for us. This season, we do not have that. In many cases, we've had so many combinations, our centre-back combinations. In one game is Kubasi and Araujo, another game is Kubasi and Eric Garcia. When I say leader, I am talking about someone who knows how to coordinate the defenders at the back. That is a missing factor in this team. And to be honest with you, Laporta, Deco, you guys missed it big time. It was a very big decision that you had to make and you made the wrong one. You should have allowed someone to come into the team to at least cover for the absence of that kind of character in the team. Because right now, that character does not exist. Coming into the game, it looked to me like our game plan was to not lose the game instead of trying to win the game. Compared to how we approached the Real Madrid when we played them 4 times last season, we were always aggressive at the beginning of the match. Real Madrid struggled to cope with our intensity, with our pace, and of course we wore them out and we won those games with the scoreline that we did. But compared to this game, it was exactly the opposite. It looked to me like we already had the defeatist mindset before we stepped into the pitch and we're trying to surprise ourselves to not lose the game. And eventually when you come into games with that kind of mentality, you are most likely going to lose, and lose we did. I also don't think Hansi Flick made the right decision in the starting 11 that played against Real Madrid. For example, Casado should have started, period. I remember the game we played against them last season when we won them 4-0 at their home turf. It was a masterclass from Casado. I remember that game. He was strong. He was putting in tackles. He was aggressive in the midfield. In this case, we had 2 very good, players who could keep the ball and, they can initiate attacks and all that. I'm talking about Pedri and Frankie de Jong, but none of them can put in the level of tackles and the level of physicality that Casado would have brought to that midfield. Because if you watch the game, Real Madrid midfielders it was easy for them, to be honest. Again, just like I think we needed physicality in the midfield, we also needed physicality in the heart of the defense, and Araujo would have provided that if he had started. You know, you could see that there was a huge difference between how we played from the back before he came in and after he came in, and we saw that he was able to track the runs of Mbappe, Vini, and it made it a bit more difficult for them to advance forward. That is something we missed. Should I talk about Ferran Torres? I think there's no need to talk about him because that guy was practically inexistent in the game. And to be honest, I don't blame him because he was out injured for 3 weeks to 4 weeks, and coming straight into the team and starting is not the ideal situation. So I was not surprised he struggled. Another reason why I think we are responsible for where we are today, especially in the game against Real Madrid, is linked to what Hansi Flick had been complaining about since the season began, and that is the loss of intensity. Last season, we played with intensity, we played with urgency, we played with the level of aggression that we needed to play with, and we got results, and rightfully so. This season, I don't know what happened. Everything seems to have vanished. I don't know if it's complacency. I don't know if the players are tired. I don't know if I don't know, but something is missing, and the sooner we recover what is missing, the better for us. Injuries have definitely not helped, and I think it's quite surprising because we didn't play the World Club Cup. We were not there. My assumption was that we had more time to rest and we were going to be fresher for the season, but it looks like the reverse is the case. Real Madrid played that tournament, look at how they ran. PSG played that tournament, look at how they ran. Even when they lost so many players, due to injuries against us, they still found a way to win. So it's quite surprising. Rafinha has been injured for a while. Ferran Torres has been injured for a while. Lamine Yamal has been going in and out. Gavi is out for a long time. Joan Garcia is out for a long time. Christensen seems to not be able to play 4 or 5 games without getting injured. So there's really a huge concern, and I think something must have happened. Maybe the guys have lowered their level of intensity during training and during games, and which could have affected us, and that's the reason why I think that we pretty much have self-destructed. Hansi Flick has earned the right to get a pass for his error in this game, because if you consider what he did last season, it was a miracle. He won 3 trophies with a very lean squad, and we can ask for more than what he did last season. For this season, I think that he probably needs to fix a few things, and it's not time to criticize him. He's been good for us, and we just need to support him with the right personnel that he needs, with the right players, and I think he'll do good. Generally speaking, I think the result flattered us. We could have easily lost that game by 3-1 or even 4-1 or possibly even 5-1, and it would have been deserved by Real Madrid because of how accurate they were with the way they played against us. Fortunately, we had Szczesny, who was in the form of his life in that game. In recent history, I don't think I've seen a Barcelona keeper, play that well against Real Madrid in the Clásico for about 2, 3, 4 years. And, thumbs up to him. He's old, but he came in and did a good job on that day. But Real Madrid, you guys should have some shame. You won 2-1, big deal. Why are you going ahead and taunting an 18-year-old kid because of the statements he made before the game? I think that you probably should be a bit more, restrained in how you celebrate your victory. It was not a World Cup. It wasn't a Champions League final. It wasn't a Copa del Rey final. It was just 3 points. You won. Just let it go. So that being said, I think Barcelona can still come good. We still have so many games to play in the season. The season not over yet. Yes, Barcelona are 5 points behind Real Madrid, but a lot can happen. And in my next video, I will talk about some of the things I think Barcelona can do, especially from now to January, that can enable us to compete for the title again, because we are so not out of the competition. We are right there, and we'll keep being there till the end of the season. So that'll be all from me, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for the next video I'm going to be posting on this channel. I would also like to hear your thoughts about this video and the game we played against Real Madrid. Tell me how you feel. What are your expectations for the next game and for the next couple of games for Barcelona, and what do you think we can do going into the season? Until then, live well, be safe, and Visca Barça.